Hello, my name is Karen Saldaña, and today I'm presenting how the Porfiriato affected the ecosystem of Mexico. El Porfiriato was a period of time in Mexico where the country was under the rule of General Porfirio Díaz. This runs from the late 1870s to the early 1910s. Porfirio Díaz was an important military who served as president of Mexico for several terms, characterized by his authoritarian rule and efforts to modernize the country. However, these attempts brought problems to Mexico's natural environment. During the Porfiriato, Mexico saw important economic growth and development which attracted foreign investment mainly from the United States and Europe.
Infrastructure projects such as railways, telegraph lines, and urban development were prioritized, which contributed to the industrialization and urbanization. With this industrial revolution was that Mexico's ecosystem was greatly affected.
During his presidency, Díaz centralized power, establishing a regime that suppressed opposition. A specific characteristic of Díaz's system was the group of technocrats and advisors whom he used to help legitimize his policies. This circle of advisors was able to attract foreign investment, but also contributed to the concentration of wealth and power among a selected few. Just as industrialization and modernization were a big influence and impacted a lot in Mexico from abroad, so were the laws implemented in favor to forest resources.
This period was marked by social inequality, political repression, and exploitation of the working class. Díaz implemented policies that benefited the wealthy elite and foreign investors, leading to widespread discontent among Mexican population, especially the peasants and workers who faced poor working conditions and land dispossession. However, this also contributed to the growth of urban places and cities, which negatively impact the ecosystem of Mexico.
Before the Porfiriato, in 1861, Benito Juárez created the first law to conserve forests on nation lands. At first, the government of Porfirio Díaz didn't care that much about how the modernization of the country might be affecting the environment, but as ideas from Europe influenced the ideology of the technocrats, they became more aware and implemented new laws in favor of the ecosystem. Finally, Porfirio Díaz implemented forestal laws, like land demarcation and colonization law on December 15, 1883, but with the main purpose of maintaining reserves of raw materials and water supply. Mexico was looking for a country with an ideal government. Porfirio Díaz arrived at the ruling through the Plan de Tuxtepec, which dictated ideas such as maintaining the supreme laws and non-reelection policy. A fact that made possible the ruling of Porfirio Díaz was the support he received from businessmen and the military. If he had not been an intelligent military, then he might not have come to power. Mexico was coming from a reform war, which left the country in serious economic and environmental situation. Porfirio Díaz in his election campaign promoted economic stability. Repression of a political opposition which led to the Mexican Revolution and a new anti-election law.
The growth of urban areas brings with it new social inequalities, and the citizens raised up in arms against the government.
The arrival of foreign investors, the input of the railways, the telephone, and industrialization, which had a big negative impact on the natural environment and ecosystem of Mexico. However, the country experienced considerable economic growth. The primary source I mainly analyzed was the official website of the Mexican government. I use this as a reliable provider because the government is the one that has the original documents of, in this case, Mexican history. And I believe they made a transcription of the information from the original sources and documentation.
The artwork I selected is related to my topic and my research question in the way that it takes place in the same period of time. Although the problem I raised in my question didn't have so much impact during that time, today is one of the main causes of trouble in several cities of the country. The Porfiriato had a significant impact on Mexico's ecosystem, mainly because of his focus on economic development and industrialization.
While there were efforts to modernize the country, these initiatives often came at the expense of the environment and natural resources. Deforestation began to occur thanks to the growth of agriculture, mining, and infrastructure. Therefore, in this period, the loss of traditional agricultural practices were lost. The industry started contaminating the air and the ground. Water sources such as rivers or natural waterways might be also affected by the construction of the railways and the expansion of urban places.